Once upon a time, in a quiet monastery surrounded by misty mountains, a young student monk approached his master. His face was drawn with frustration, his shoulders heavy with the weight of unseen burdens. "Master," he said, "I am lost. My days feel chaotic, and my heart is restless. Every moment, someone demands my time. Chores pile up, people ask for help, and I'm constantly running from one task to another. I want to focus on what truly matters, but I don't know how. Please, teach me the secret to finding balance." The master, an older man with a serene presence and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of wisdom, smiled knowingly. "Ah, my student, you are not alone in feeling this way. Balance is a challenge many struggle with. But before I give you the answer, let me ask you to do something for me." The young monk nodded eagerly. "Of course, master, anything." The master stood and led the student to a nearby table. On it sat an empty jar and 3 separate containers, one filled with large rocks, another with smooth round pebbles, and the third with fine sand. "Take this jar," the master said, "and fill it so that it holds all of these, rocks, pebbles, and sand." The student looked at the objects, confident it would be an easy task. He began by pouring the sand into the jar. Its fine grain settled quickly, covering the bottom. Next, he added the pebbles, shaking the jar to make room for them. Finally, he picked up the rocks, but no matter how hard he tried, they wouldn't fit. Frustrated, the monk turned to his master. "Master, it's impossible. The rocks won't fit no matter how I arrange them." The master chuckled softly, his eyes twinkling. "Let me show you a different way." He emptied the jar and began again, this time placing the large rocks inside first. The rocks filled the jar, but there was still space between them. Next, the master added the pebbles, gently shaking the jar so they nestled into the gaps between the rocks. Finally, he poured the sand, and the fine grains trickled down, filling the remaining spaces. When he finished, the jar was full. The student's eyes widened in amazement. "Master, it fits perfectly. How did I not see this before?" The master smiled. "This jar, my student, is a reflection of your life. The large rocks represent the most important things: your purpose, health, and the people you love. The pebbles are the smaller but still meaningful parts of your life: your work, hobbies, and daily responsibilities. The sand is everything else: distractions, trivial concerns, and unnecessary worries." The student listened intently, nodding as the lesson sank in. "If you fill your jar with sand first," the master continued, "there will be no room for the rocks or pebbles. The same is true for your life. If you focus all your energy on the small, insignificant things, you won't have space for what truly matters. But if you prioritize the big, important things first, everything else will find its place." The monk's expression changed from frustration to understanding. "Master, I see now. I've been letting the sand take over my life. I must focus on the rocks first." The master nodded. "Yes, but remember this too. The key to balance is not just prioritizing, but also letting go of what you don't need. Your jar cannot hold more than it is designed to. Don't try to force it." The young monk bowed deeply, gratitude shining in his eyes, and so the student began to live with greater awareness, carefully placing his rocks first each day. The sand still came, but now it no longer overwhelmed him. In life, we are all given the same jar, the same amount of time and energy each day. What we choose to fill it with determines the quality of our lives. So ask yourself, what are your rocks? Are you giving them the space they deserve, or are you letting the sand take over? The answer to balance isn't in doing everything, but in doing what matters most. Thank you for being here and reflecting on this timeless lesson. Remember to focus on your rocks and let the sand settle where it may.